one half of the legendary tag team known as the Rockers, with Shawn Michaels back in the, let's just say, 1980s, late 80s. This was the quintessential high-flying tag team. The Hardy Boys before they were born, before they became the Hardy Boys. The Lucha Bros, the Young Bucks before the Young Bucks were even a thing. This was the original, the very first, or at least the most famous, high-flying tag team in all of wrestling. Marty Jannetty would go on to have one of the most noteworthy segments alongside Shawn Michaels in the barber shop, where Shawn threw Marty through a window. They would go on to have a feud for the IC title, which honestly was the highlight of Marty's career. Following that, you know what happens. You know your history if you have been a long-time wrestling fan. Shawn Michaels goes on to become one of the greatest of all time. Marty falls to the wayside. And unfortunately, when Marty falls, he falls hard. Marty has a history with depression, drugs, alcohol. I think he tried to commit suicide, if I'm not mistaken, in the early 2000s. Shawn had to basically reach down and save him from himself. He had a short run in the 2000s, very short. They had a reunion with him and Shawn in, 2005-ish. It was during the feud with Shawn and Kurt Angle. And Marty had what I thought was an outstanding match with Angle on SmackDown. So good that WWE offered him a contract. A contract that would be null and void not too long after that because of, domestic violence. He got arrested for domestic violence around that time. To be fair, he was also arrested in the 90s for attacking a police officer. So this guy has a history of getting arrested for the dumbest reasons too. It's unfortunate that someone like Marty Jannetty continues to be plagued by his demons, by a history of just terrible decisions, poor choices. I don't know what else I can say there, but it's just one of those things where a guy that should be an all-time great, to some is, but should have made a bigger impact on the business, was hampered by his own demons. And it continues into 2020. Now, Marty has a Facebook. I don't know who follows it. I don't. But he has said some controversial stuff that has gone viral. And it continues today. I think it was last night that Marty was trending on Twitter for the following post that he made on his Facebook. And I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to show it to you, but I'm going to read it to you. And this is legit. I did my research. I thought at first, is this one of those, he didn't really write this and someone is making a bot account to make him look bad? No, this is what he said. This is coming from the Marty Jannetty. And I quote, I never told no one this. Even my brother Gino. Because Gino would have killed him. And I didn't want my brother gone. Hell, he only recently came home from Vietnam. I was 13, working at Victory Lanes, bowling alley, buying weed from a slur that I'm not going to say. You see it. That worked there. He put his hands on me. He dragged me around to the back of the building, and you already know what he was going to do, what he was going to try to do. That was the first time I made a man disappear. They never found him. They should have looked in the Chattahoochee River. But Winnie, the girl in these pics, apparently there's a girl in the pics. Yes, she's right there. Let me see if I can move it up for y'all, because I want y'all to get the full scope of what's going on. That's her. That's Winnie. Winnie. Let me continue reading what he said here. I don't know the relationship. Maybe he'll say it here in a second, but it says here. But Winnie, I liked you so damn much. Probably my favorite. But I promised myself way back then, nobody would ever hurt me again. That includes you. I loved you, but you hurt me with your effing Jamaican jealousy. Wow. You can go your own way. I don't need you. And he ain't done. I bet y'all is like, that's enough, right? He ain't finished. There's more. Says here in a response to a fan who just asked, "Are you okay?" Like, bro, what's going on? Me and Winnie just had a fallout. But if you're asking about the other thing, yes, that was 1 billion years ago. Plus, I have the satisfaction of knowing that bitch is never got to do another kid like that. Look, it's clear that Marty is sick. It's clear that this man needs help. He's been need help. His mindset is not one that really should be advertised on social media, that should be allowed to have a social media. He's just not well. Someone like him should be in a mental hospital. Seriously. Like, why would you, in any way, shape, or form, feel it's okay to, I don't even know where I want to go with this, honestly. This is crazy. Like, he just admitted to murder. Well, I guess in his mind it's self-defense, because the way he told the story, he took him out to the back and he was gonna kill him. That's what he perceived. So he killed him before he had the chance. He just admitted to murder. Jesus Christ, man. It just makes you think, like, back in the day when wrestling was nothing like it is today. Today, we have some of the most nicest, most kind-hearted, although egotistical, but for real, like, compared to the wrestlers back then who were legit crazy nut jobs. You have to wonder, like, how often was stories like this going around? Like, is Marty a part of a generation that would do stuff like this? Like, I can't imagine he's the only wrestler that hasn't. I mean, you got Jimmy Snuka, who of course is, most notorious for murdering someone, although people say it never happened. When you look at the story, and you look, even with the Vice TV, Dark Side of the Ring documentary talking about it, you have to think, like, he murdered his girlfriend. You know he did. He did. But, like, when you hear about how hard the business was back then, and the kind of dark, very vicious atmosphere the business was around, you have to think, like, what other murders took place? Not just with Marty, like, the way he talked, I would think that wasn't his first one. Don't be shocked if it comes out that he's killed someone else, but that's scary. Like, the wrestling business back then was, it wasn't something to, let's just say, all this talk about the modern generation being, what is it, snowflakes? at least I can say right now that I know of, none of the wrestlers have killed anybody yet. Yet. I would hate for news to come out and prove me wrong, but in terms of like the modern generation, like I would dare say from 2000 to 2020, nothing, nothing about, except for Chris Benoit. Okay. So, but again, no, because Chris Benoit comes from the same generation as Marty Jannetty and all of them. That again, didn't Benoit start wrestling in like the late 80s and early 90s as well? Okay, so he still comes from Marty Jannetty's situation. I'll keep my original statement. If you came into wrestling from the 2000s until now, I don't know anybody right now, I don't think so, that has committed a murder. I've heard drug overdoses. I've seen maybe some domestic violence. But in terms of like offing someone and then bragging about it, yeah, that's I don't think it's ever happened before with this generation. This is just another peek into how rough the business was back then, and just another peek into the very sad state of mind that Marty Jannetty is in. People like Marty and Sonny. Sonny's real name, I forgot, was it Tammy Stitch? Tammy? Yeah, I gotta look up her real name. I think I got it right. But yeah, Sonny, when you're as popular as they were back then, and you were one of the hottest acts in wrestling, because the Rockers were huge. I mean, think about it. As I said, they were the Young Bucks before the Young Bucks were a thing. They were the Hardys before the Hardys were a thing. Imagine the Hardy Boys back in 1988. Imagine how fresh that kind of wrestling was. Oh yeah, they were huge. Massive. When you're that popular and you're able to do all kinds of things with a lot of money, a lot of times you make a lot of dumb decisions that haunt you. And you also have to live with that for the rest of your life. And some people just don't have the mind to deal with it. I don't think Marty is one of them. So I pray for him. I don't think he's well. I think he needs help. And it's sad that someone like Marty, who again, by all means, should be a legend in the business, to some is, but he should be someone that should be a rock, that should have his own wrestling school, should be teaching wrestlers how to work, should be building his own legacy. Like a Lance Storm, or Shawn Michaels, or I'd be here all day just naming people who had wrestling schools, who have wrestling schools, and are training and building, creating the new generation to come after them. Instead, he's bragging about murder on Facebook. So, look, give me your thoughts about this down below. I don't want to be up here too long. I think it's sad. It's depressing at this point. If it is true that he did this, and something gets opened up about it, like the police get a hold of it and he gets arrested for it, and he goes to trial for it, I don't know what I can say to defend it. Like, he confessed. It's a confession. So what do you do? Guys, thank you for watching. I didn't want to be up here too long talking about this, because this is a lot. This is a lot. I want your thoughts on this down below in the comments. How do you feel about all of this craziness when it comes to Marty Jannetty, him confessing to murder on Facebook? His history, his past, what I said about him potentially, the could have been life of Marty Jannetty compared to what it is now. But this is again, it's a reflection on how dark the business was back in the day. Like that generation that he came from, there's something off. There's something off with that generation. But it's just one guy. I'm not going to use him to personify all wrestlers. It's just sad at this point to see where he's at. It's just every day is something with this guy. It's always something with Marty Jannetty. And he needs to delete his social media. Like whoever is in charge of Facebook or Twitter, wherever social media platform he has, it needs to be deleted. And he needs to get help. And that's all I'm going to say. You guys have a great, wonderful Wednesday. I will be back up here for more content. So be sure to like the video, subscribe, and check me out for more stuff. You guys take it easy. I'm out. Peace.